Welcome to Stand Up Memories. Would you please try to be classy? We have a special guest here who's had an amazing career.
Why don't you start the show?
All right. Welcome.
Save your lecture for after the show.
All right. Welcome to Stand Up Memories.
He does this every time.
I'm Peter Bales. This is Jackie the Joke Man Martling. And our special guest, and I do mean special, is Kerri Louise,
Yes.
a terrific comedian who's done a lot more than stand-up comedy. She's an author, okay?
Wow.
Okay. Now, Kerri and I, we worked together back when I had brown hair, I think. And it's been a while.
Did they have cameras back then?
They had cameras back then. But Kerri, you and I share something that not too many comedians share. We are married to comedians. And that can sometimes be a challenge in a marriage.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's pros and cons to having a comic be your significant other.
Yes.
I always tell young people, even on stage now, this is like I'm kind of making it as a joke because all these young girls put on their Tinder page or their profile, I want someone to make me laugh. I want someone. Yeah, I'm like, no, you don't. That's a clown. That's what you want. I married a clown, and it didn't. No one warned me.
And that clown's name is, we should say that certainly.
Yes, Tom Cotter.
Tom Cotter. He's wonderful. And but it must be, it is. I can tell you it's a challenge being married to another comedian because
Just being with someone. I was married to Nancy, who is an aspiring actress and songwriter and all that. And if you're both in the business, it's a shuffle. You know, it's challenging. It really is, you know.
because now tell me if you relate to this, Kerri. I could say to my wife, Peach, who is a comedian, you know that new bit you're working on? You might be able to change it a little bit and make it better. And her answer would be, why don't you love me? I mean,
yeah, we end up getting in fights too. When
He does that to get out of sleeping with her for a few weeks.
yeah, Tom, or we'll be in the middle of Tom will be in the middle of talking, and we know each other so well. I'm like, you're bidding me. You're looking to see if I'm going to laugh at this, and I'm not. That's the only time you're going to talk to me if you want to practice a joke. Yeah, so then we end up getting to fight. Like, you don't talk to me at all. We don't do pillow talk. We don't talk to me at all. But no, if you want me to see if something's going to be funny, you're bidding me.
I love it.
And
It's
empty the dishwasher while you're at it. All right, maybe I'll listen to you if you're emptying the dishwasher.
Oh, that's great.
Make yourself useful.
Joe Rogan called and left a message on my husband's answer machine. This was way back when we just got engaged. He heard we got engaged. He's like, dude, what are you doing? I told you, do not date anybody with a headshot. And now you're marrying her? Dude. Went on and on. I wish we kept that tape. It was so funny because soon after that, he got married to a stripper. So
Did Joe know you were going to hear that?
yeah, we lived together. I mean, we lived together for 5 years before we got married. So yeah, I think so. It was very funny.
That must have been a joke. He must have been doing that as a joke.
He was joking, but I mean, obviously, you know, because we had gotten engaged. Like the word was out. He was joking in a tongue-in-cheek kind of way. You know, come on, comedians, we joke, but we're always a little.
Yeah, it doesn't mean to hurt, but if it does, that's just a plus.
Now, I want to talk about your stand-up in a little while, and you're going to make fun of this, but she will understand. I was reading up about you on your website, and you are the author of a children's book. And let's get the title right. Harry the Elephant Has an Allergy.
That's correct.
That's the title of the book.
You got it.
And I'm reading the acknowledgments, and this is what made me tear up.
Oh.
About,
You know Harry the Elephant?
well, I think Harry the Elephant may be based on one of her children who is now older. And what I got out of the acknowledgement is that there's such a thing as a table where a student who has a peanut allergy would have to sit alone. And I don't know why that hit me so much. And then it's so beautiful that this book and you are about not having your son sit alone as he deals with the peanut allergy. And I know that maybe I'm not overreacting. I'm tearing up now. It's so beautiful. And this book is so beautiful. And well, I want you to talk about the book, but I also want to tell the audience right now, go on Amazon and get this book, Kerri Louise, Harry the Elephant Has an Allergy. And it's perfect for reading to children. And you were doing.
No, I didn't have any idea, unless you know somebody who is a victim of that or suffers from that, you don't get the gist of it. And I spent 8 years doing a radio show, and my radio partner has as bad a peanut allergy as you can have. And you don't believe the nightmare until you actually know somebody. I mean, he's got to be so careful, you know.
Right.
Go to Amazon, get this book. Kerri, tell us.
Yeah, it's a funny book. It has adult humor as well. It's just a cute little funny book that kind of normalizes allergies and just helps start a conversation with parent to child or teacher to children and students. And it's just funny. It's about an elephant that is allergic to nuts, and he meets a cow allergic to milk, who meets a chicken allergic to eggs. And it goes on, and it's just silly and fun, and just help start a conversation about allergies. Everybody's allergic. It's 6 degrees of knowing someone who's allergic to something.
Right.
Well, I don't know. I dealt with bullies when I was in school, and
You still are.
Yeah, I am. And I don't know why I was so touched by the way you said you're not going to ever have to sit alone at the table for people with peanut allergies. It's just, you're saying it's a silly little book. It really, that I was hooked in the acknowledgments of the book. Anyway, and who illustrated it, by the way?
Which is so great. He's also a stand-up comedian. That's what I love about it the most. Jimmy Carroll illustrated it for me.
And he is somebody I have worked with.
What's his name?
Jim Carroll. He's very funny, Jimmy Carroll.
I do not know that guy.
I am telling you, he's funny, and I'm telling you, Kerri Louise is so funny. Now, you tell everybody your website.
So my website's kerrilouise.com. Spell it with an I, Kerri. If you spell it with a Y, you're gonna get the porn star. Did you get the porn star by accident before?
Well, no, it wasn't by accident. I searched for that.
But is that true? My autobiography is Jackie the Joke Man, bow to stern. But if you only Google bow to stern, you get a 7th grade sailing manual. So people think it's a goof. You know, I'm like, no. Oh,
there
God.
he is. Yeah, that's hilarious. Yes. So,
is there really a porn star, Kerri Louise?
Yes,
That's very funny.
I hope she has bigger boobs than me. I'm hoping that I'm funnier than her.
You are. Believe me. You've had some terrific TV spots. Now the show was about stilettos. What was that show?
Stand Up in Stilettos. That was so much fun to film. I went to LA, filmed it, and that tape right there was just such a clean, great tape, and that's what gets me more gigs, because it's just that one tape that finally worked. So yeah, so even my Showtime tape, which I love, which I just filmed it's still streaming now on Showtime.
Yeah.
I love that tape too, but for some reason
that is Women of a Certain Age, right? That is, yes, Carol Montgomery's Showtime, Women of a Certain Age.
Yeah. So when she called me for that show, she's like, "Hey, I got a show for you. It's on Showtime." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do it." She goes, "It's called Women of a Certain Age." I'm like, "Oh, really?" I would have lied about my age to get the credit, but
well, that throws me. I did not know about that. And
you got to see it.
You are not that certain age yet. Not to my point.
I was the youngest girl on the show, but I did happen to make the show, unfortunately, age-wise. I would have lied about my age, but I didn't have to. But I'm the youngest.
You look great. You look great. Tom looks great. But you have the 3 sons. I have 2 sons, and you have 3 sons, and they're now kind of grown, right?
Yeah, the twins I cheated. I only had sex twice. So
Ah,
I have twins, and they're 20. They're in college now. They're a sophomore in college, and my teenager is a sophomore in high school.
Oh, okay. No, you're still parenting.
I'm still, and I didn't think it through because like we started late. Tom and I, we started late, and I didn't think it through. So I'm now going through the change. Literally, woman of a certain age. I'm going through the change the same time my teenager's going through the change. We're both not bothered. And he's popping pills. I'm popping. He's popping pimples. I'm popping pills. And
That's hysterical.
we're both growing facial hair. It's horrible.
Now, I was thinking about this. I want to ask Kerri something kind of heavy that I
you
cannot.
want me to not listen?
No, I want you to listen. But
not goof on it?
she's got sons. She's got sons. I've got 2 sons. She's got 3. I never encouraged my sons to go into stand-up comedy because I thought starting out for me was so difficult with so many tough times that I didn't want them to have to go through that.
Same.
What, same?
Same. I mean, I'm not encouraging it. Well, we made them go to college. They have to go to college. We made them go to college. And Tom and I worked.
Right.
We did the Parents Weekend. We did a show, Parents Weekend at my kids' college. And I did ask my son if they wanted to introduce me, and he loved it. And he did a little skit right before, and he introduced me, and he fell in love. And I went, oh no, what did I do?
Yeah, I bet. But you see where I'm coming from,
It's
right?
got to be tough though, because you don't want to shield them from it, but you don't want to discourage them, but you don't want to encourage them. You kind of just like got to see what floats, you know?
Yes. It's playing that balance. It's really difficult because it is hard. It's a hard road to go down.
The worst thing you can do with a teenager is say, don't do that.
Then they're going to do it.
Right.
Right.
Now, I gotta ask you.
I wish somebody had to said to you, don't do that.
He kids because he really secretly loves me.
I really mean that.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, I would say a good number of comedians also have a teaching career. And you are I guess you'll always be an elementary school teacher in your heart.
In my heart. Yes. I do. I love teaching, which is why it was like easy for me to write that book. And I teach stand-up comedy too every once in a while, which is I teach adults comedy. And it's pretty much the same thing as teaching elementary education.
Now, when you say elementary school, what is any specific grade or the whole gamut?
I taught first grade for a little. I subbed a lot, and then I taught for behavior modification kids as well. They were on an elementary level, and they were teenagers. So
nice.
That helped me. That prepared me to be a mom. Those couple of years.
Do you have any stand-up material about teaching?
Yeah, a little. I taught swimming lessons as well. I have a couple of jokes about that.
And also, to say that she has a little bit of material about her husband would be an understatement.
Right.
You know, you don't need therapy. You get it all out on stage. And it's so funny. It is so funny.
Yeah. It's true. And, sometimes I'm always like, God, I'm man bashing too much. I got to stop. But like, people love it. I mean, it's just like, I get the job done when I make fun of my husband. I don't know why.
Well, you're getting it out, but you're allowing them to get it out. When you're laughing at what you're saying, you're all in the same pedal. You know what I mean?
I actually see the therapy. I see them hitting their husband and like, you do this, you do that. And everybody's beating each other up. But we all feel great and we all stay together for another couple of years.
Well, it is. I'm sure Tom, as a comedian, understands that when you're banging him on stage, it's all in fun. And the rule is,
you could have said that better.
Well, yeah, I know.
I could have said.
I'm a porn star. I'm not banging him on stage. I'm making fun of it.
I wasn't. That came out wrong. You're right.
It came out really wrong.
But
you have been known to make mistakes.
I have made mistakes,
like going into comedy.
But
Go ahead with
I owe you a couple.
You do.
All right, now.
My mom told me not to go into comedy. Look what happened. She still thinks it's a hobby. She's like, she's like, there's still teaching jobs available back at home.
Your
After the
mom
third
is,
year.
she's of another generation.
She
When
is.
I when I decided to do it, and I decided I was going to make an album, and it was way back 1979, and I went and bought a tape recorder, and I was in my parents' attic, which was where I lived, and I was carrying the tape recorder into the house, and my mother literally said, "Oh, another toy." You know what I
Oh.
mean? That's just the mindset. It's like,
No.
you know.
Yeah.
When my father found out that I was doing stand-up comedy, and I was doing it about a month, he took me aside and said, "Here's a joke you can use in your act." I met my girl in a revolving door and we started going around together.
That's such a dad joke.
It is a total dad joke. And the sick thing is, I closed with it for about 2 years.
It's
That
so
is
great. It's
that
so
is the
great.
sick thing. The 2-year thing is really
Do
what
you
makes
remember, you know, it's so funny. People encourage you along the way. A lot of people, even if they don't mean it. But when people discourage you, it seems to stick in your head. And I was going out with a girl, she was like 22 or something, and her mother hated me. And we just started doing comedy, and I was at one of those Christmas dinners with the 7 different fishes because they were Italian. And her mother came up to me and said, "You know, when you're in school, there's always one person in the class that's always funny and always makes you feel good." And I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "You're not that guy."
Oh,
Kerri, that has stayed in my head every time I'm on stage and it gets quiet or I bomb a joke. I'm like, there she is. There she is. You know, it just, you know,
yeah, but that's what keeps you motivated.
it just lights a fire under you, you know.
I want to ask Kerri another heavy question. My wife is also in stand-up comedy, and both guys,
I'm glad you cleared that up.
but let me put it this way. Because my wife's a stand-up comedian,
This isn't a sex question.
Very
No,
funny, by the way.
I
Very
can turn
funny.
it into that.
Very talented and funny. Your wife.
You're very nice to say that there are challenges to being a woman in comedy. And let me just put it to you this way. Is it better now than when you started out? And we have a lot of young comics who watch the show and listen to this answer, because there are challenges to being a woman in comedy and I want to give her a free stage to say what she wants to say.
There's lots of challenges. Here's one simple challenge, and I'm sure you've experienced this too. I have a joke. I wrote a joke. I'm pregnant with my twins. They would do the end of Christmas. They came early. They would do around Christmas. They came early, just like my husband. And it gets a little bit of a laugh. And I go, you know, Tom, that's such a funny joke. Why don't you try it? Tom tries it. It gets a standing ovation, basically, a applause break. Just that joke alone, like making fun of, it's a self-deprecation joke or whatever, making fun of his male anatomy. Like I can't do, like for some reason, it just isn't as funny when a woman says it. That's
fascinating. That's fast. I love stuff like
and that's not the only one joke. There's a couple of jokes that we share back and forth, and he gets a bigger laugh. I mean, it just is. It is what it is.
And there's nothing you can do to change that. I mean, it's just the mindset.
Right. It's the mindset. In the mindset of the audience, which means that trickles to the bookers who are afraid to headline women for that reason. And which is unfortunate, because the women are the ones who decide what they're doing for the weekend. The women are the ones that buy the tickets. The women are saying to their husband when they come home, "We're going to a comedy show tonight." They're the ones that are buying. I don't know why they don't headline women. They're so a lot of bookers out there are so afraid to headline women. It is getting better, to answer your question. The needle is moving so slow. In my 30 years of being in this business, it has moved just a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit. It's getting
like
better.
You know, the old, I don't know because I don't go out in groups, but they would never ever have 2 women on a show. It'd be like having 2 ventriloquists or 2 jugglers. Like, no, not 2 women. And very often the women are killing and doing, like that joke about I came too soon. Like for some reason, that's a place where maybe you're not supposed to go in the back of people's minds, which is patently absurd. Of course,
Right.
Are there any jokes that are funnier when you do them than when he does them? I mean, I love analyzing jokes. This is fascinating.
There's not that many. And then if it is, the reason why it wouldn't be funny for me, just because it wouldn't make sense if he's talking about his period. That just wouldn't make sense. And even then he would probably get more laughs. We really haven't really dug into it, but that would be something interesting to really see the reasoning behind it. Comedy is so subjective, and it's so it sometimes it has nothing to do with how funny you are. And if it was raining or the show started late, it is so sensitive to that
Absolutely.
that's really hard to do.
There's way too many parameters to nail anything down, That would be a very special to have be you doing a joke and him doing the same joke and seeing how they, that would be a very wild, I think, don't you think?
No, my wife just told me
Even
that
even the stand-ups, even in New York to this day, still, when New York has a bunch of comics at these clubs, they put the woman on first. When they have a bunch of comedians in, at the Strip or the Cellar or wherever, there was a bunch of comics on a Friday and Saturday night. If there's a woman on the show, she's on first.
Is the mindset that the stronger acts are on later, which once again is absurd,
there are so many. You said before you teach comedy as well?
Yes.
Okay. I do too on Long Island. There are so many funny women, young women, and you don't even have to be young because you can do comedy at any age, that are just coming along.
That's so great.
It is great.
And it is changing, and it's those Sarah Silverman pioneers and
Right.
the Amy Schumers.
Right. Absolutely.
That are paving the way.
I hope it's an equal playing field. I really do. A level playing field.
It's getting there. We're seeing more and more women, and that's what we need to do. The public needs to see more and more women in these funny places. Because like years ago when I was growing up, if there was one person on a comedy show, there was the one woman and she wasn't funny, all women are funny. That's what they would.
Right.
And they would have no woman, or sometimes occasionally they would have that one woman on that TV show.
It's hard, it's like turning the Titanic around, it's like a gradual,
I think it's turning, and all you have to do, people listening, is go to your local comedy show and see it for yourself. And say your website again, because those videos are so terrific. And you have another book the title escapes me, but it's something like "Mommy is the Antichrist." What is no? I got it wrong.
It's called Mean Mommy, because I think we need to bring up a lot more mean mommies and mean daddies in this world. I think we need to go back to the basics.
That Me Mommy.
Mean Mommy.
So
it's about how I did it with the twins and Married to a Comic, and him always on the road, and me putting my career on the back burner, and trying to juggle the comedy trenches of New York and bringing up children.
All right. And that's on Amazon too, right?
It's on Amazon too. It's called Mean Mommy, and my website is kerrilouise.com, and all my social is at Kerri Louise Comedy.
All right.
Let's spell it again. Kerri.
Louise.
KerriLouise.com.
And you are so funny. She's got videos on her website that are so funny. She is so cool. You're a role model. I'm going to recommend her as a role model for these new female comics that are coming up.
Yeah, I love helping female comics all the time, especially when I get a female comic coming to me and helping them construct jokes and talk about the business. I have this one student, I do privates now mostly. I have this one student who calls me, she goes, I don't want to write. I don't want to talk about jokes. I just need to talk about the business and get all this stuff off my chest. I'm like, all right, I feel like I'm not helping you. She goes, I want to pay you anyway. I just want to pick your brain. It's just because this career is so difficult, and it's so difficult for women. And
well, that's so important for them to have somebody to talk to is invaluable.
Yeah, and it's just the mindset. We just had like a little mindset session, You know, just keep doing the work. That's where it is. And if any women are listening to right now, it's just keep doing the work. It's stage time, no matter if you're a guy or woman,
Absolutely.
just starting out, younger, teenager, or just starting out and you're in your 60s. You show your face, get out there and do the work, and the rest will come.
Kerri, Louise, you know what? You stand on your own as a terrific comedian, and you're fortunate to be married to Tom Cotter, but you stand on your own. I mean, what a great guest.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us.
You are the best.
Give our best to Tom.
Totally promoted all my stuff. I really appreciate it.
Well,
We didn't talk about any funny memories. I had all these memories to talk about.
Oh, well, you know what? We scratched the surface. We want more with you. We'll do this again. Absolutely.
Yeah, everybody we talked to, that was great. The 20 minutes, 30 minutes just flies by. So we're going to circle around and hit everybody again.
Yeah, because I have so many stories. I started out with Dane Cook, Bill Burr, Sue Costello, Patrice O'Neill. I started out with all those people out in Boston. I had all these stories in my head to tell you all about. They're all
We're
famous.
going to do them. We are going to do them. We're going to do them.
Yeah.
Next time on the show. Boy, this was just an intro to Kerri Louise.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.
Love you thanks for having me.